sink ships. Many a slip between a cup and a lip. Dum-dum. Loose lips sink ships, 'cause it's not gossip if it's news. Have I got a news update for you? Oh my god, people. Oh my god. So, there's a lot to get through, but I'm going to be as quick as I can because I only woke up to pee, checked the thing, and oh my god. Firstly, I got Elon Musk. It's just been announced a criminal investigation has been launched into multiple countries, including France and India, into Elon Musk changing the algorithms in that so that Grok can be used to create sexually explicit, exploitative images of children. Because remember, his dominatrix dresses as a child, sometimes a toddler, where she's engaging in a love, romanticized relationship with a grown man with him that's based on Elon Musk, that he has been openly engaging in as in his character in Night World. So now finally, because remember I went to Rachel Maddow, I went to went to Thomas Massey, somebody listened. And so now a criminal investigation's been opened, and it'll explain why all of his stuff on Night World is him feeling sorry for himself. You expect to get shot in war, but not standing in a spring garden or something. So somebody's confronted him. He's been milling about with friends and that, and someone's confronted him. He's been held accountable. So the ending to Message in a Bottle has literally just come true in real life. Where she smashes the bottle, they realise she's been protecting children. The people realise, holy shit, Tardovsky isn't the magician, rich, wonderful guy knight we thought he was, and they all turn on him and drag him to the courts. That's just happened. I manifested the takedown of Elon Musk through a story that I wrote when I was recovering from being locked up, when he got me locked up with my husband. So I've won a massive lawsuit. I'm telling you now, I've won a massive lawsuit. I've just gone to Ron DeSantis and I said, look, now that basically, like, obviously I'm paraphrasing, but it's all there in the description box. Since basically now this has happened, I've gone to him and I've said, because that case against him, Trump and Gates is in Florida, I went to Ron DeSantis and I said, sir, I don't know if you're able to contact the plaintiff, because, I mean, he should be able to, right? He's the governor. And I said, I have information that will help her in her case against Elon Musk, Donald Trump and Bill Gates. And then I showed him the Joe Rogan stuff. It's got the link to the video that got taken down. So just with that link, he should be able to take that to the courts or whatever and demand that Joe Rogan hand over the copy of the recording where Elon Musk admits to building those tunnels for Diddy. Diddy had a tunnel under his house, and also Elon Musk admitted to building the tunnels. Joe Rogan actually says to him, aren't they used for sex trafficking? And Elon Musk kind of goes, well, yeah. So, yeah. I'm just having a drink of water. So somebody out there listened to me. And now criminal investigations have been launched into Grok. They're looking to shut Grok down. Apparently he changed the settings to allow it to happen. So, and the Lib Dems are already after him for allowing the child P on X. So it just proves everything I've been saying this whole time. I was right this whole time. He wasn't on everything that happened to me. He was complicit in what Chris did to me and what they all did to me. You know, and that's the thing that kind of, I'm not hurt, because it's like I'd rather know who these people were before I got to build my foundation than find out after. Because remember, my husband Martin, my ex-husband Chris, my students, even some of my clients and former family members and that, but especially my exes and my students, they were all being prepared to become a part of my foundation. Like my readers were going to do their readings in my wellness centre and, in my brew house to do coffee cup and tea leaf and card readings and all that. And then they all ended up helping Elon Musk cover up the sexual exploitation of children. And that's what they were doing to my son Thomas. I'm convinced they were getting ready to groom my son Thomas. I even told social services and the doctors and that. I showed the West Yorkshire Police evidence that my ex was manipulating my kids. And it was all ignored, but now we know why, because they were all paid to shut up by the powers that be that didn't want any of this stuff getting out. But I got him. The ending to Message in a Bottle's just about to come true. He's now linked to so much stuff connected to sex trafficking, the sexual exploitation of children, all of it. He's directly implicated now. I've got stuff on my social media. I just can't find it because I can't remember the cue words, the suggestive words. But if you go through my my ex from about maybe, I don't know, June of last year up, I've got stuff where on X, on YouTube, a woman videotaped him with a woman that had been sex trafficked in a camper van, and his Tesla's parked right next to the camper van. And then someone else had posted videos of exposing him. For doing things in the underground tunnels or something? I can't remember. My brain has had to process my brain has had to process so much information since Christmas time because I have been investigating these bastards like a beast, man. Oh my god. So in other news, a document dropped in my lap on Instagram about George Soros writing up a plan in 1993 where he was planning on basically destroying the governments and sovereignty nations to bring in a one world system. So then, just off that article, I was able to link everybody who's wanting more with Russia and everybody in the conspiracy to take down the monarchy all together, lumped it all together in connection with George Soros. I got photos of them with George Soros and stuff with them with George Soros. I'm talking about Macron, Trudeau, Starmer, Lammy, Ursula von der Leyen, Root, the Trumps, all Elon Musk even. Apparently, George Soros bailed Elon Musk out in 2006. Elon Musk was pretending that, he was like the George Soros of the far right and he heard him so humble and blah, 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 and that he had this feud with George Soros, but people, when I was doing the investigation, were like, it's all a setup, it's all a lie. They're just actors on a stage. So the thing that disappoints me is the fact that knowing that people in my family, that people in my social circle, that people I was married to helped the most evil people in the world in a conspiracy to protect child sex offenders and the conspiracy to take down the monarchy. And one of them's British. My ex-husband, Chris, is Scottish. And he teamed up with his cult, Santero being Canadian, two of his lovers being British. most of them American, Canadian. His partner in crime, Andy Dilks, I call him his histress, the one who stole and wrote my books with him, British, and they all conspired against the monarchy to protect sex offenders against me. And that's just what's so disappointing about it. When you find out that everybody in your life hates you so much, is so jealous of what you're doing so much that they would rather protect, defend and protect child predators and traitors to the king and crown, then let me just go about making my games and build my school. How depraved and sick in the head, how twisted and mentally unstable do you have to be, let alone having loose morals and ethics, that you would rather try and kill a woman 4 times to stop her from building a creative art school? That's all I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to do anything. I'm not trying to lobby anything. All I'm trying to do is build a school where kids who are artists, writers, musicians, whatever their gift and talent is, give them a place where they can nurture their talents. That's all I'm trying to do. And that became a threat because of the stuff that we'd be making. My movies and games and that, they all mean things. Like the Soul Collector video game is about her saving children from sexual predators. Although you don't know it's sexual predators, you don't actually know what happens to the kids. You never, it's kind of left to the imagination what happens to the kids. But the Soul Collector, Ruby, that's the whole premise of the video game. Her going around saving the children to try and get them to the Dragonarium, the safe house. So this George Soros piece of paper, I said to the King and the ICC, this is how far back the conspiracy to take the monarchy down goes. And then I realised, I had a look. When did Tony Blair become Prime Minister? 1997, but he became a Labour MP in 1994. And he met George Soros not long after that. And then I got the photos of him having meetings with George Soros. And remember, the Queen said this battle for me and my family started with Tony Blair. So it was like, ba-dum, 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 ba-dum. Mark Carney, sitting on the beach with Ghislaine Maxwell. And then I got fact-checked again, but this time it was from a Dutch company, I think it was. And they tried to say that, because it was an article about the BBC and Starmer announcing £22 billion going towards climate change, fighting climate change. And then someone put up a graph to actually explain about the real use of CO2, how much CO2 the earth produces and how much humans use. And it's like it's like teeny tiny amount. And they fact checked it and said that my information was wrong. Well, then that pissed me off. That pissed me right off. So then I investigated the fact checkers, and what I found blew my mind. First of all, one of them was a journalist for the BBC who covered the pandemic. So I said, to the King and the ICC, so he's responsible for covering up the lies about the vaccines that killed your mother. I said it was the BBC that had reported that her and your dad had had the vaccines. So of course he's going to say that I'm spreading lies about stuff. He's one of the people who worked for the people that covered up the Jimmy Savile case. And then I looked to see who was funding them. Again, Meta and Facebook, but the European Union. They lobbied the European Union to be their fact checkers, and they're all these pompous, arrogant pricks, and I'm this, and I'm a this, and I'm a that. And then it all turns out one of them covered the war in Russia and Ukraine, where they would not have been in support of Russia. So all these people were people who have a reason to have it in for the monarchy. And then I traced it all back to von der Leyen. I couldn't believe it. I was like, holy crap. And I said, why are you watching what I'm doing in the UK? You've got no jurisdiction over what I post in the UK. I'm not part of the EU. But I said to the king, now we know. She must be really, really worried about the stuff that I'm posting. All yesterday it was all about exposing Bill Gates and Bill Clinton and, the sex trafficking, and saying, look, I told you I was right about all of it. I did the live, and then this happens. So she was, it's a threat because it's saying that I'm getting stuff wrong. So then what happened was she pissed me right off, right? So then I started doing fact checking of my own about climate change, and what I uncovered, what I uncovered absolutely, because what happened was then a thing popped up about where they're saying that CO2, researchers in Australia and America, I think, two countries, researchers anyway, have discovered that we're producing more CO2. See, we've been having a lot of volcanic eruptions as well, and volcanoes erupt when there's not enough CO2, when the ozone layer is affected. So they erupt to pump more CO2 into the air to help keep the ozone layer steady, to help repair the ozone layer. And so researchers have said we're producing more, and that actually more trees and that are starting to grow. The planet's getting greener. But then it tried to say, but then climate change experts, they notice they don't call them scientists or researchers, they call them experts. Say, but that's got, that has nothing to do with the rising sea levels and the storms we're having, and the droughts. So I produced evidence to prove, using NASA as well, that the NASA's research and research that they've been doing, where they've been able to prove for over the last 150 million years, the planet's getting colder, so there are no droughts. The planet's actually getting colder. We're heading towards another ice age. So the planet's not getting hotter, and we're not having droughts. NASA have also been able to produce information, scientific evidence, when they took sediments and everything under the sea. The sea levels haven't risen like in forever. It's like a millimetre every 150 years or something. So that was, they were wrong about that. And because I'd gone to Grok, and I had said, how many times has von der Leyen been caught out lying? And did you know, oh my God, Clutch your Pearls girls? She used to live in London under a fake name. She lied on a dissertation that she wrote, and there was she lied about something to do with like the Defence Ministry, and it just listed all the things that she's lied about. And then she tried to accuse me of spreading misinformation, and she's been caught lying and even having false identities while living in London. So then, what was the other thing? And I said, in regards to the storms, I said they're created by DARPA, and then I showed the evidence, actual scientific evidential proof. And then, of course, because Bill Gates' own pilot on his deathbed has come out and said the cloud seeding is to, tamper with the weather and create a Holocaust in America. So I immediately debunked who fact checkers. I said the storms are man-made, or the floods are man-made. and, produce the evidence that, with DARPA and all that. Jeff Bezos' grandfather is DARPA. He invented DARPA. So bloody hell. From pretty much from the minute I stopped making that live, I think I had a nap because I was exhausted, and then I woke up, and then I was on it all day yesterday, taking them all down. Every single person wanting war with Russia, every single person that I have been claiming have been in on a plot to take down the monarchy have all been connected to George Soros. David Lammy, Keir Starmer, Angela Rayner, von der Leyen, all of them, Macron, Carney, Trudeau, all of them. I've got like actual photo evidence. And the Queen said it went back to Tony Blair and she was bang on the money. So George Soros and the European Union and a lot of Commonwealth leaders and American politicians, Bill Clinton, Obama, all of them, everyone that's been in since Tony Blair, everyone who's been in positions of power and influence since Tony Blair have all been helping George Soros and the conspiracy to take down the monarchy so that he can bring in a one world system. And it's documented, like it's actual legal documents where it's admitted that's the plan is. And then a year later, Tony Blair becomes a Labour MP, and then a couple of years after that, he becomes MP, and then we have 9/11 and Diana dies and all hell breaks loose. All of them are connected to Jeffrey Epstein. All of them are connected to Mossad. All of them are friends of Israel. Every single one of them. All of them are in on the conspiracy to take down the monarchy. All of them were pushing the vaccines and have money to make from the vaccines. World Economic Forum members, World Health Organization members, the whole lot. So now everything that I said that they were planning to do to the monarchy and Russia and the reasons why, laundering money through climate change, and that's what I said. That's why von der Leyen tried to come after me about the climate change thing, because they're hiding a lot of money that they've stolen off the fat of the land of all the countries that they've raped for their money and gold and resources through the climate change net zero lie and the vaccine lie. And all her fact checkers were all people that worked for the BBC who had a reason to hate Russia, push the vaccines, cover up the sex trafficking and the pedophiles through the BBC, fake climate change information, all being paid for by the European Union. So she tried to set her little dogs after me, and it ended up backfiring spectacularly, because then I turned the investigation back on her and her fact checkers. It's all there. The stuff I found just blew me away. I got Elon Musk. Elon Musk is about to go to prison, but I said, remember I keep saying he's in a really dark space on his night world at the moment. So just expect news to hear that maybe he doesn't. Yeah, you know what I mean. One way or another, he's going to hell. It's either going to be this way or that way. There's only two options: through prison or through exiting the world or being exited from the world. Drugs and alcohol. He likes to drink and he likes his drugs. And I've been saying it. I thought he was going to get the death penalty, along with a lot of them. And then I heard whispers in the wind from them upstairs, from the bosses upstairs, from top office, I call them, that his exit might be drug and alcohol related. But either way, he's about to go to hell. and I predicted it in Message in a Bottle. I'm just I'm I'm just so disappointed in everybody, the NHS, the doctors, the West Yorkshire Police, the lawyers, the judges. They all helped cover up um, sexual predators towards children. They all helped cover up a massive international pedophile ring, human trafficking ring, organ harvesting ring. That was the other thing. Information has come out that a private British military company has been caught funding Ukraine in the trafficking of Ukrainian children for their organs for Coca-Cola. So Coca-Cola have been paying Zelensky to traffic children so they can have access to their organs, and a British military company, a private British military company, is linked to it. I think I may have reported that like before, but I put so much stuff out there when I'm working on the algorithm. I only deal with the stuff that sticks when the time has aligned. It would be impossible for me to retain all this information. It means that if I've forgotten that I've posted it and I'd already posted it, it means it wasn't the right time for it to be revealed, because look, my voice is starting to go. Wasn't the right time for it to be revealed because divine timing hadn't aligned so that all the other pieces to the puzzle would fall into place where the whole picture was seen. And yesterday the whole picture was seen. I was pulling out puzzle pieces left, right, and centre that built such a big picture against the coalition of Epsteiners that it blew even my mind. Even I get shocked that I'm surprised about everything. When you're a scientist who does physics that is cutting edge, because I don't do it in a way that real scientists do with, numbers and blackboards and all that sort of thing. I've had to defend myself against world leaders, secret service, militaries, governments, billionaires, tech giants, the rich and famous, the powerful, the legal system, everybody I know. I've had to defend myself because they were too dumb to get it. Their arrogance was such that they thought I was nuts because I couldn't be right about any of this sort of stuff. But I just put the codes out there and I wait for the timing to align so it all drops into place. I just had to master patience and wait and have faith in God that everything I said would come true in divine timing. And over the last few months, man, boom, 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 everything's aligned to build such a bigger picture that even I'm shocked at some of the things that I've seen in my codes that have actually come true. And a lot of the stuff that I thought I was writing down ended up being bigger than even I thought it was when I wrote the codes down. Like when I wrote Message in a Bottle, which was originally called The Harvest, I thought I was writing about Chris, because we used to call him Tardo because he was a retard. So we'd call him Tardo. So I named the character Tardovsky. And then I started realising, this sounds like Elon Musk. Having the building the funnel to the bottle so that she could breathe, like letting me have just enough that he could feed off what the magic fairy was putting out there. And I started figuring it out, and I'm like, hang on, that sounds like Elon Musk. And I thought, well, it doesn't matter what he says or does to me. I know how this ends then because I've written the ending. She sings when she realises she's about to run out of air. She sings so loud, the bottle breaks. And when it breaks, she stands up, And people realise she's been hiding children under her grass skirt, and that he knew she was protecting children under her grass skirt. Like my kids and all the kids, when I originally wrote it, it was that people were realising I was protecting my two children this whole time from their father this whole time. That was the original. And then in reality, it's, you know, from, well, everything that I'm just saying, the children, the ones that he's exploiting on X and, you know, in real life, in real life. I said to Rachel Maddow, you really need to investigate his connection to what happened to that Celeste Rivas Hernandez, you know, with that David, that D4VD dude, and the plane crashes, I said. So, yeah, so even I'm shocked when some of this stuff comes true. So now Donald Trump, he's been called a war criminal. He's lost his mind, hasn't he? America's going to take over Venezuela until we put someone into power we approve of, forgetting that the ICC are watching, forgetting that the whole world is watching, and the ICC are already after him for being a war criminal anyway, so why not add to the list? The man who FIFA jokingly gave the Peace Prize has bombed 7 countries in less than 1 year of his presidency. The president whose election campaign was all based on I'm going to stop the wars has started wars. But now, if you see him over this whole Venezuela thing, whisper on the wind, I put a link up yesterday. He tried to get the nuclear codes, and his generals and that, his sensible folk had to take the codes away from him because he was wanting to get his hands on nukes. Not even joking. And then I was like, oh, that's my Biden-Trump alligator dream. And that's why the men in blue were worried about the war being started, knowing that if the president starts this war, it's not going to be a war like any of the others. It's going to be worse. And then, of course, after he tried to get access to the nuclear codes, I said, oh, that's what the dream was when it said not like the others, because he wants to go nuclear. He wants to start dropping nukes on people. So in my Trump Biden alligator dream, that's exactly what it meant. And I said people will come out in defence of Trump, and people are defending what he's doing in Venezuela. Yay, oh my God. Innocent people have been killed because he wants access to the oil. Everybody knows it's only for the oil. Everything I said were his intentions to Venezuela, he's just proved me right on. The gold, the oil, all of it. I was right about everything. When he bombed Nigeria and I put all that stuff up, I was right about everything. So now he's going to go down. He's going to go down as a war criminal. He's going to be like the next Himmler. Von der Leyen's Hitler. And it all ends up in Nuremberg. But Donald Trump doesn't live long enough for any of this to go to trial. So I'm going to go to the wharepaku, to the toilet. And I'm going to go back to sleep. I can't believe how fast everything is happening. And what I exposed about George Soros. Because they're stupid. They always put it in writing what their plans are, because it's part of their Masonic Illuminati practice in plain sight. They think, it gives you more power. It creates the matrix. Like how, yeah, the 7/7 bombings ended up on the bus before the bombings even took place, and or also start people hating Muslims so that they would have an excuse to start a civil war in the countries that they wanted to destroy the sovereignties of. So this whole war with Muslims and Jews and that started when Tony Blair got in office, when George Soros set up that plan to destroy the world sovereignty nations and create a one world system. It's all there. And then I connected all those dots and all the leaders and the all Epsteiners and all friends of Mossad and oh. So yeah, I was exhausted. Like I couldn't even cook dinner. I basically just made myself bacon hash brown butties, ate them, brushed my teeth, passed out, and then I just woke up just now to go to the wharepaku, check the news, and it was like, oh my god. So yeah, message in a bottle just came true, which means I'm about to be free. I'm about to be set free. Because after it, she grows her wings, puts her kids on her back, and flies off into the Kelly forest to sit on her throne that has been carved by the animals out of a old tree stump. She sits down on her throne. The doves and birds and all that place her crown on her head, which is made of like feathers and shells and bark and moss and like stoned, like little pebbles, coloured pebbles and all of that, acorns. That's your crown. It's made up of all different kind of elemental things, feathers. Did I say feathers? Yeah, they place the crown on your head, and then all the bears and raccoons and squirrels and eagles and deer and all of that, all the animals come out of the forest and sit around her and her children while she's overlooking the Kelly Forest from her throne on top of the hill. That's how the movie ends, so that's where I'm headed. I don't know where the Kelly Forest is going to be yet, but at this point it's looking like, hopefully, fingers crossed, Hungary. I've got my eye on Hungary, I've got my eye on Italy. So, yeah, as long as we live, it has to snow because 40%, about 45% of my business revenue is going to be reliant on snow. So I'm going to go now, go wharepaku, toilet, and I shall speak to you later. God, I mean, I promised you things were going to get pretty exciting, didn't I? I said New Year's, the first few days of New Year's were going to be like, oh my God. Well, and I said it was going to be bringing up things they do behind closed doors to do with their personal lives and that sort of thing. And so who knew that Ursula von der Leyen had been living in London under a fake name? Her name was Rose, of all things. Yeah, false identity. So, yeah, the shit is hitting the fan, and I'm the one that turned that mofo on. Woo! I love it. That's what happens when you sin against God and call God a liar and shit on God and try and kill his daughter and call his daughter a liar and threaten the monarchy. They're all traitors. And for the British Commonwealth ones like Chris and Andy and Santara and all that, they've committed high treason. The Commonwealth side of it, the doctors, the cops, the judges, the nurses, the lawyers, my exes and all his British and Commonwealth cult compadres, they've all now committed an act of high treason towards the British monarchy in order to protect and defend and cover up sexual exploitation, sexual predation. Because remember, my ex, it was under investigation for historic sexual assault on me, and they all covered it up. child sex trafficking. We know about the British government and, you know, their cover up of the grooming gangs. And they all tried to shut me down because I was banging the drum and blowing the whistle. Look, look what they're doing. Look what they're doing. And no one believed me. Oh, she's making it all up. She's nuts. Or if the doctors say she's nuts, she's nuts. No, because the doctors had a reason to keep me quiet. So yeah, I'm going to get a lot more money out of this than even I was expecting. But it's all good for me. The more money, the better, because the more money I get out of this, the less I have to worry about bringing outside investors in, because I don't trust anyone. After everything that's happened to me, who can I trust? I couldn't trust presidents, prime ministers, the FBI, the police, the legal system, friends, family, clients. I couldn't trust any of them. So where am I going to get investors who are righteous, who are moral, and have good ethical standing? Hungary and Russia, well, where am I going to find them from? The Russia thing is just because Elon Musk and Donald Trump got into his head. However, they then turned around and Trump betrayed him, which is why all of this is now kicked off, because in Trump's betrayal of Russia, Vladimir Putin, and in letting Ukraine think that they were finally going to get peace, and then he screwed them over and then tried to exacerbate things, fan the flames between Russia and Ukraine with the assassination attempt of Vladimir Putin, that everybody now knows he was behind. It's even the CIA admitted that he gave it the go ahead. He betrayed someone who considered him a friend, and then that pissed God off. Because when you target Russia, as I've explained before, and Vladimir Putin, you're targeting the New Jerusalem, the new Holy Land. God has granted Russia the crown of being the new Holy Land because he's destroying Israel. And Trump was trying to stop that from happening, which then, had he have succeeded, it would have changed the Bible. It would have made Revelations wrong. It would have meant that God got the Bible wrong. That's how evil Trump is, and he knows it because he watches everything I do. He knows what's going on, and he couldn't have that. He wanted to prove God wrong, because you have to understand these elites. The coalition of Epstein is on it, all the ones that are working for Mossad, and that they're part of the Antichrist movement. They're anarchists who disregard the law. The EU have broken the law and disregarded the law so many times. The ICC are now looking into it. And, independent legal bodies are now looking into the fact that von der Leyen, and that's just going, yeah, I don't care if that's legal, we're going to do it anyway. That's an anarchistic government. That's an anarchistic movement. And I've been saying since day one, since Starmer, I've been saying to the King, it's an anarchistic antichrist movement. And I was right, because they're all disregarding the law. They're all bypassing, just not even listening. That's an anarchist. And then the Antichrist is because they're all trying to deny Christ, his second coming, that God has ordained to take place in Russia. And the New Jerusalem is in Russia. And so if Trump had succeeded in assassinating Vladimir Putin, it would prove the Bible wrong. The book of Revelations would be wrong. It's calling God, it's saying God is wrong. And that's why Donald Trump pissed God off. You don't call God a liar. God doesn't get his information wrong. And neither do I. because he's my dad. Well, he's my father. My dad is George Edward Patrick Callaghan. Sir Major George Edward Patrick Callaghan, thank you very much. But my father is heavenly. My dad was heaven bound. My father is heaven sent. So I said, my dad conceived me. My father raised me. He raised me up so high so I could stand on mountains. I'm going to go because my voice is going now, thanks to the third assassination attempt. I'll speak to you later. Ka kite anō. Mwah. Loose lips sink ships. There's many a slip between a cup and a lip. Loose lips sink ships. 'Cause it's not gossip if it's news.